The singles of Love is Blind UK season 2 did not come to play. They're having all of those deep conversations immediately. They're letting it known what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. And we're not here to waste any time. So let's talk about this season of Love is Blind UK season 2, episode 1.
Chaos written, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kieran Scripted and I am your girl K. Today we're going to be discussing Love is Blind UK season 2. Episode 1. I just want to thank you so much for being here with me for this season. If you're new here, welcome. It's so nice to have you. Go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel for more recaps like this one. And if you are one of my fellow subscribers, hey girl. So happy to have you. Now let's talk about this episode. So this episode is named Eat, Sleep, Date and Repeat. There are 40 singles, 15 guys and 15 girls. So we begin at the girls' quarters. All of the girls are together and they cheers to love. Then we see the host, Emma and Matt. They walk in and welcome everyone to the experiment. Amy is the first girl that we're introduced to. She says that they live in a generation where everything is about what you see, but can you do better? And this is what the show is about. Liking someone or falling in love pretty much without seeing the person. They also ask Katisha why looking beyond looks is so important. And she says it's hard being judged by your looks and it's something she's experienced. She's hoping that with looks out of the picture, it will cause people to form a deeper connection. Then on the guy's side of the quarter, Demola says he's hoping to find his soulmate, he's family oriented, and he's looking for someone to laugh with every day. I think that's the goal for everyone, right? So Matt and Emma then announced that the pods are now open, so the dating scene has begun. So the first girl we meet is Ashleigh again. She said she's 200% about everything except her love life. So she goes on a date with Charlie and she said it's always been her sister or her friends and she's been told to believe in herself some more. We all, or maybe most of us, have been in a situation where we're seeing all of our friends progressing and going up in life, right? In our eyes. But one thing I've always encouraged myself is to understand that your journey is your journey. It's unique. Their journey is theirs. So support them, be happy for them, and know that yours will come. So then she sits down with Billy. This is her second, or the date that we're focused on, right? So Billy said that he was in the army. She said that she was in the cadets. He too was also in the cadets. And they seem to be connecting. They talk about pets and it was funny to me because Billy has a dog named Ollie. Not Ollie from last season. Anyways, she said that she's been single for 4 years. That relationship took a toll on her. It had her feeling low confidence in herself. She said that she wants someone who is honest and respectful. And I mean, isn't that what we should be getting anyway? Should we be asking for an honest person and a respectful person? That should be mandatory. That should come with everybody. But unfortunately, that is just not the case. Billy then opens up and says that he was married 5 years ago. They were both in the army and things just kind of, they went their separate ways. He talks about being divorced and that it wasn't something that he was hoping to experience. But unfortunately, this is what happened and he doesn't want to go down that road again. So he wants to make sure that the girl he ends up with is going to be for a lifetime. Off the bat, I like Billy and Ashleigh together. We're going to learn a little bit more about them because they have some other dates coming up in the episode. Now, the next girl we were introduced to is Sophie, and immediately she annoyed the heck out of me. While she was in the girls' quarter, she asked Yolanda if she should do her hair a certain type of way. And Yolanda told her, girl, do whatever you want. And she said, I hate when people do that to me. And it's like, girl, relax. She was even more annoying. She did say that typically when she goes on a date, it would almost be like an interview. And she went into all of these dates pretty much doing the exact thing. She was making all types of faces, and I'm not going to judge her because I am definitely my face will tell you exactly what I'm feeling, but you kind of have to learn to tone it down because that causes a lot of issues, right? I just personally feel like Sophie needs to relax a little bit. She has a date with Kieran, and she said that she's never been in love. She's been in a relationship for 5 years, and it just kind of felt like more of a friendship. He said he was in a 7 year relationship and it ended 1 year ago. 7 years in a relationship, no marriage. That for me is a red flag. When I started dating my husband, I made it known immediately that I'm not going past 2 years without getting married. That was my boundary. It doesn't take you that long to know if you want to spend the rest of your life with someone. So to be in a relationship with someone for 7 years, like, what are you doing? You're wasting my time. Anyways, they talk about having kids. He said he would like two. She said she would like 3 kids. She asked him what are his red flags. He said, how about you answer that question? And she's like, are you keeping something away from me? But she said she's a well-rounded individual. She also said that she doesn't let people in easily and she's never shown someone the real side of her. Now, that for me is super red flag. This is really scary. Now, I'm not saying that you need to let someone know all about you immediately, but you've been in a 5 year relationship, you said, and this guy didn't know everything about you. So, are you putting on a facade? Have you been that hurt that you're so careful and you're sabotaging every relationship? What is causing you to not want to show people your real self? Is there something about you that you're scared of being judged? Is there something about you that you know is it's almost like you're selling someone a product knowing that it's not good and then not telling them that there's issues with the product? I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's a good way to go into any kind of relationship. Anyways, let's move on because Kieran then goes on a date with Megan, and I loved seeing the connection between these two. They talk about family. He said he's very close to his brother. He's also a gamer, and he said he actually markets games. Megan says because of her work, it's really hard to maintain relationships. And so he asked her long term what are her family goals. She says she wants kids, at least one, but she also wants to adopt. He felt really fascinated by that idea. He said he's never actually really thought about it, but this is something he is open to. I feel like it was a lot more easy sailing with Megan as compared to Sophie, and I might be a little bit biased because I'm not really feeling Sophie. But I loved to see the way they interacted with each other. Now, back at the girls' quarters, Megan talks about her date with Kieran, and we see Sophie in the background hearing, and she's not liking it at all. She said she doesn't want to share. But girl, that's what you came on the show to share, to find your person. So simmer down. Then we're introduced to a what's the word? A very special character, might I say. His name is Patrick. He is very spiritual. He said he's a life coach. He's on a date with Anu. He said he wants something deep, something that's going to blow his mind as far as the relationship. He said he has a splenic awareness, and that means trusting his gut in the moment. I will say that this is the first time I've heard of this term, and it was very interesting. But the amount of times or the number of times he said splenic awareness, I was like, dude, we get it. We know your splenic tells you what to do. Okay, let's not keep repeating it. But anyways, Anya said she likes to pray, she fasts, she reads her Bible, she likes to pray with her family. How does that fit into his lifestyle? He said that he grew up Christian Catholic, and he also said that he feels safe and comfortable with Anu. I don't really feel like he really answered that question, or maybe they didn't show us what he actually said, but I would have loved to see his explanation on how his lifestyle would fit into hers. So then we're introduced to Sarover. I love Sarover. As a fellow half Indian girl, I am loving her. So she said she's only actually dated Indian guys because there has been a lot of pressure coming from the Indian community. Now, I am West Indian, so my dad is Indian and my mom is a black woman. So it's a little bit different for us here in the Caribbean, right? We have that mixed culture. But to be a full Indian, it's a whole different kind of culture, right? Anyways, she's on a date with Kal, and I like them. I like the two of them together very much. He said that he likes gymming. She loves being in the gym too. They talk about relationships. He said, if something doesn't make sense, don't waste my time. Love it. Now, I will say my first impression of Kal when I did my previous recap introducing the cast, I was just like, Jim, I don't know. But now that I've seen Kal, I actually really like him and I think they are really good together. He talks about his family. He said he has 2 brothers and 2 sisters and they're all married with kids. Now let me go back a little bit to what he said. If something doesn't make sense, don't waste my time. This is called intentional dating. When I started to learn about intentional dating, that was my theme. Don't waste my time and I will not waste your time. That was a thing. If you know you're not ready to be in a serious committed relationship, please don't waste my time. Now let's move on because he asked her what kind of wife she thinks she would be and she said she wants to be present for her children and I love them together. Okay, Kal says he's often mistaken to be arrogant and I think he was saying that to me because again, my first impression of him was like, I don't know. It's giving arrogance, right? It's giving like he's full of himself. But this is not what we're seeing. Now, there's another date with Billy and Ashleigh. He talks about his tattoos. He also talks about intimacy. He said it's very important to him. He likes being the little spoon. Now, I don't think a lot of guys like to admit liking being the little spoon until lately, like I've seen on social media, guys talk about how good it feels to be the little spoon. Then there's another date between Kieran and Megan. They talk about what gives them butterflies and she says being kissed in certain regions of your body. She says eye contact. She loves cuddling. And like I said, I prefer the connection between Kieran and Megan than Sophie. Now, Kieran immediately has a date with Sophie right after his date with Megan. And he immediately asks the same question about what would give you butterflies to Sophie. And she says, passion. He says, well, give me more details. And baby, she gave no details. She said, that's all you're getting from me today. I said, passion, you figure it out, okay? She's like, just get on one knee. And I'm just like, Sophie, Sophie, I feel like has a lot of insecurity. She said she doesn't feel comfortable showing all of her. And she decides that it's not good enough for the other person. Like I said previously, I feel like she self-sabotages. And she also did say, this is something that she does. She doesn't do well with rejection. If she feels like she's going to be rejected, she's like, okay, that's fine because you didn't really get to experience the full me. And that for me screams insecurity. What is it about yourself that is causing you to not want to show who you really are? I will say that even in a marriage, you're not going to know every single thing about the person immediately. But to show someone that you're a certain type of way and only a few years or a few months into the marriage to learn that you're not who they actually thought you are is dangerous. So, I don't know, girl, go get some therapy because you're not ready for a relationship yet. Let's move on to the date with Kal and Sarover. He asked how she feels about change, and that was a really nice conversation. I enjoyed them talking about change. She said she struggles with it sometimes and it makes her feel uncomfortable. And he then opens up about almost losing his brother. He talked about his other brother having an addiction and coming out of it, having a wife and a child. So for him, he's always kind of prepared himself to deal with the inevitable. Is that the word? Right. He's always prepared himself for change, knowing that things will happen and things will come up. I thought that was really nice of him and actually showed another layer of who Kal is. Then there's another date with Billy and Ashleigh. He talks about his dad and he gets really emotional. He said he loves his family. He talked about how his dad was injured and how much that affected him. Ashleigh said that she and her parents are not together. And as the older child, she kind of took up the responsibility to pay for the bills. When she was just 16 years old, she kind of just assumed that role. And that resonated with me a lot. Because for me, in my family, that's kind of what happened. My parents were still together. My parents are not together because my mom passed away. But in our household, when you got to a certain age, you now assume the role of paying bills in the house. Even if my dad was the provider, you kind of just assume the role of paying everything. So that really resonated for me. She said she wants someone to take care of her because she's always had to take care of everyone else. And for some reason, there's a lot of emphasis about her job as a cabin crew. I had to find out what that means. So it's kind of like an air hostess. And we know, of course, for her job, she travels a lot, and that has affected her relationships when it comes to dating. But tell me why this is such a big deal, because she did say that she's open to finding another job, because the reason why she stayed in her job as a cabin crew for so long is because she doesn't have children, she doesn't have a spouse or something, but she's definitely open to changing careers. He said that he has dated a cabin crew before and it really hasn't worked out, and so that is weighing heavy on him to make a decision moving forward with his relationship with Ashleigh. Let's go on because that comes a little bit later. Now, Anu and Patrick, they have another date. They talk about family, a little bit more about their backgrounds. Patrick has a Jamaican mom and his dad is a Nigerian. Anu said that she is also Nigerian. She talks about her mom being an immigrant and she came to the country without anything, and now she works for the government, and talks about how proud her mom is of her children who are educated and everything. That is a big deal for a lot of people. So I'm really happy that they did talk about their family and the similarities in their culture. So I think the two of them can mesh very well. Now, speaking of family and culture, Kal and Sarover's other date, they dive in a little bit more about their childhood and their background. So Sarover said that she had a great childhood, but her parents got divorced 8 years ago, and it affected the family tremendously. She talks about having to split Christmas, which was something that they looked forward to, they enjoyed doing together as a family. But now that her parents are divorced, she kind of misses them being all together because they somehow have to split time between their mom and their dad, and she really got emotional about it. And she said that she wants to create her own family, to have her own traditions. Kal said he went through something quite similar. Then they get to talking about their backgrounds. Now, she said that she's an Indian and he said that he's half Pakistan, and I think that is a conflict culturally. They talk about it a little bit, but I feel like this is something they need to talk about a little bit more. I don't know too much about it, but that will definitely impact the family when the cultures are different. Now let's move over to Billy and Ashleigh, because they have another date, which is the final date in this episode. Billy is indecisive about where he stands with Ashleigh because of her job as a cabin crew. But she, on the other hand, she's gushing over him, talking about how much she likes him, how she's looking forward to meeting him, and he is just in his mind when it comes to her job. So they go on their date and he tells her that he loved their dates, but he just wants to be honest with her, because there comes a point where you have to be honest with someone. Now, this is where episode 1 ends, because in episode 2, we will learn how that conversation actually goes down. So that means that you have to tune in again to get all the tea on episode 2. So tell me what you're thinking about episode 1 of Love is Blind UK season 2 so far. Please share all of your thoughts with me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so you're informed once I post. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.